January 17th regular meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation, under God, liberty, justice for all.
Trustee Bazemore?
Present.
Trustee Codman?
Present.
Trustee Levin?
Present.
Trustee Herrera?
Present.
And Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Okay. Do we have any mayors and trustees now?
We do. I will, let me open it up to my colleagues while I look something up. Does anybody else have any announcements that they want to make
Yes.
folks aware of? Sure, go ahead.
Sure, I will, though.
No,
If
that's
somebody else is...
After you.
Oh, yes, of course.
Good alphabetically.
Yes, after you, sir.
Deputy Mayor, please
Oh, after
kick
you.
us off.
I'm all go.
So I want to call everyone's attention to the second event of jazz for the month of January. A week from Saturday, January 27th at 7:30 at the Ossining Elks Lodge. Second Saturday Jazz in the Uptown Room present the Corcovado Samba Jazz Trio. This is a wonderful trio with acoustic guitar and a stand-up bass and drums, and it's really Brazilian folk songs. It's really special, and it'll be a wonderful evening. It starts at 7:30. $10 at the door goes to the performers, and we'll have a buffet at 6 o'clock, which is a separate $10 charge. But anyway, the jazz continues in Ossining, and I'm excited for this particular group. So that's January 27th, 7:30, Elks Lodge, the Corcovado Samba Jazz Trio. Thanks.
Excellent. Trustee Herrera.
Thank you. Good evening. So my first announcement is the Ossining Emergency Winter Shelter is open. I'm going to be announcing it until March. That's when it closes. So all those in need of a warm place to spend the night are encouraged to meet Monday through Sunday in front of Open Door Family Medical Center right on Main Street by 9 p.m. All guests are expected to meet in front of Open Door, no exceptions. A staff member will then take you to the shelter where a warm meal is given upon arrival, followed by breakfast and a to-go lunch in the early morning. Together, we could all come together to make sure that no one will freeze on our streets during the hardest times of our season, which is winter. So spread the word that that's going on in front of Open Door, 9 p.m. Also, a reminder about snow removal. As you know, we've had a lot of storms or blizzards or however you want to call it. Do not shovel snow onto the streets. I saw it a couple of times the past couple of days, and also the previous storm. And also a reminder to all homeowners and businesses, you're required to clear the sidewalk of any ice and snow within 6 hours of snow and ice fall. That's excluding 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So please be sure to clean those sidewalks. It's truly a safety concern for everyone that uses them. Next up, invitations and correspondence. In an effort to ensure that all board members get the same information, I encourage you to please forward all invitations and notices to bot@villageofossining.org. This would just make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to events and programming and notices. And lastly, stay engaged and connected. All residents are invited to add me and follow me on my official governmental social media pages where meetings, agendas, and notices and events will be posted. Facebook, it's @Trustee Omar Herrera. And Twitter, it's @Trustee Omar. That's all.
Trustee Bazemore? Trustee Levin?
I'm sorry.
Nope, I'm fine.
Who will,
So I just wanted to thank the village, all of the village, for rolling out the new website. The village. I don't know if you plan to speak about it, but I was really excited to see that. We have talked about putting a new village website because I think the one that was there was over a decade old, and I think I'm being kind when I say that. It's great because I think it enables us to have more transparency with citizens and government. I hope you all go on there, and there is a way to actually get in touch with the village and share any of your thoughts, pros and cons, additions, edits, anything that you find on there. It's I went on as soon as it rolled out. It looks really good, so thank you so much for that. And I think we even got one brand new resident actually send us an email about wanting to join committees, etc. as a volunteer. So already it's produced some good stuff for us. So thanks.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, Trustee Levin. We are all very excited at long last to have our new village website. And though Jamie Hoffman is not here with us, we extend our thanks to her. She has really been the one spearheading all the work to get that done, and we are very, very pleased. And so we encourage you to visit our villageofossining.org website. And if you have any feedback, if you just want to say, oh, I'm so excited, thanks so much for doing this and making it so much easier for me to get information, that's great. If you have any questions or recommendations, you can email info@villageofossining.org, and that's where we'll be collecting any feedback about the website. And I also want to put on my documentary and discussion series hat for a moment and invite folks this week. Thursday evening at 6:30 at the Ossining Public Library. The film is called Room to Breathe. And it is a story about how particularly this story takes place in San Francisco, but it happens at schools all around the country of helping students with mindfulness training and the dramatic impact that has had on their behavior and their ability to learn. And it will, as always, be followed by Q&A discussion with the public and a really terrific panel of experts from a variety of perspectives. So we hope that you will join us at the Ossining Public Library this Thursday the 18th at 6:30 p.m. For more information, you can go to ossiningdocumentaries.org. Madam Clerk.
Okay, we will move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Village Manager Deborah McDonald.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you for your kind words on the website. I do think it's a huge improvement over what we had before. I do want to give out special thanks to Jamie Hoffman. She took this on. It was a daunting task in the very beginning. I also want to thank all of the department heads who worked with her to help make sure that the information that was launched in this new website was up to date. She spent a lot of time making sure that the forms were fillable, which I think is a really great thing to have. I want people to know that if they email us from that website, the new website now, it'll be a blind email. So when you say, I want to email this department or whatever, what you're going to get is a form. I want you to know, rest assured, that it is going to the proper department and that department will respond to you in a timely fashion. So if it gives you some sense of insecurity when you're emailing it and you don't see an address in there, please don't let that stop you. We want to hear from you. We want your feedback. We want to know what your concerns. We do like having people tell us we're doing a good job, because we don't hear that a lot, but it's nice. And we're very excited about this website. There is a lot more to come. And now that it's active and live, we'll be doing a lot more updates. But we want to hope everyone will use it, and we're going to be linking that in the future to our Facebook and Twitter accounts. So the more information that we can share with all of you, I hope that you'll feel more engaged in our community. So I do want to say a little bit about the storm that we had recently. We went through tons and tons of salt, and but I think that overall the Department of Public Works did a great job of clearing our streets. It certainly for me was a learning experience to see how we do things. I was very grateful that the community got out and shoveled their sidewalks, and it was great to see how people really responded and came out to clear the snow so everybody could get around. So I was very pleased. If anyone who's listening to this have any suggestions for a way that we can improve it, email me on the new website. It'll come to me, and I look forward to working with the department and the community on future snowstorms. I know we'll be having more of them. So I think that's, is that a jinx? I think that was a jinx. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you.
Move on to Corporation Counsel Stuart Kahan.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. On tonight's agenda, 2 resolutions to call to the board's attention and to the public. The first is we'll be calling for a public hearing for proposed local law 2 of 2018, which will be to amend the tax code of the village regarding the Cold War veterans tax exemption that we discussed last week during work session. And again, that would remove the 10-year period, which was in the original ordinance as first passed by the state of New York. The second resolution tonight is an amendment to the zoning code with regard to the T-zones. We've discussed that on a number of occasions, both in public and in work sessions. With regard to this, specifically regards to property at 145 North Highland, but would have impact throughout all of the different T-zones that are within the village. Thank you, Mayor.
You?
Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
Good evening. I was going to start with snow, but since Omar got most of that for me there, I'll skip over that part. The one thing I'd like to add is that temperatures over the next 24 hours should be hovering at or below the freezing point. So for tomorrow morning, our traffic warning is to drive carefully, leave space between you and the vehicle in front of you, and perhaps leave a bit early. Just be mindful of potential for icy spots both on the roads and untreated sidewalks and driveways. This past week, we had an event in Ossining High School where the school caused a lockdown. One of the things that it raised for us is issues of communication with the community, which we pride ourselves on putting a lot of effort into that, but we found that residents oftentimes have certain platforms they like to follow us on. Just a heads up that we will always do our best to communicate with people. Twitter is going to be, in the event of an emergency, our first platform we're going to hit. We will continue to use Nixle and the pushed out text messages that people like. Sometimes that's not possible all at the same time just because of staffing issues, but we will continue to use all those platforms in order to get our messages out to folks. Over the past couple of weeks, we've had a few instances of larcenies from unlocked vehicles, which brings us back to our 9 p.m. routine, which is to remove your valuables from the car, lock the doors. We shouldn't have to tell you to roll up your windows, and we recommend at least before bed to leave a light on outside your house. These are completely preventable crimes and incidents, and they're things that we'd like people to work with us on. So if you haven't checked out our Facebook page, we're actually going to be doing some giveaways to promote the 9 p.m. routine coming up soon, so check that out. And share that with your friends and neighbors, because this is one of the easy ones we should be able to stop. So lock your cars and take your valuables out and help us to keep those larcenies from happening. That's all we've got for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we get underway, I just want to say thank you very much, Chief, and all of our first responders for the extra effort that always goes into every storm. Storm management it's snow management, but it's also so many things that come along with that, because not everybody heeds your warning and stays off the roads or leaves extra space between them and the car in front of them. So that means a little extra pressure on all of you guys, including our fire department, our OVAC workers, and our snow removal guys at the Department of Public Works. So special thanks to all of you.
Yeah, I'd just like to make one comment about the storms and snowfall and how that would affect fire service. One of the things that's really important is if we do get significant snowfall, that you do dig out the hydrants near your house. This is a very critical, I mean, literally, this is minutes or longer that would prevent our fire service from executing the job they need to do to keep your property safe and obviously undamaged. So I encourage you to adopt a hydrant in your neighborhood. And also, if you do engage firms to or businesses to clear the snow, make sure that when they do that, they don't move the snow from your driveway in front of the hydrant. I personally experienced that on Ferris Place last week, and I had a chance to talk to the owner about it, so hopefully that'll be corrected in the future. But please make sure that the firms that you hire to clear your snow are aware that those hydrants are critical for fire service. So that would be my suggestion. Adopt a hydrant and just make sure that whoever you engage to do that could actually clear the hydrant as well, maybe as part of their work, so that we can make sure that our fire service can execute their job. Thank you.
Move on to organizational announcements. Is there anyone here that would like to make an organizational announcement?
Okay.
Move on to village board resolutions. Is there anyone who'd like to address any of the resolutions?
Good evening, Sue Donnelly, 17 Susquehanna Road, Village of Ossining.
Evening.
I want to discuss Resolution E, authorizing the village manager to accept a gift from the village of for the Village of Ossining from the Friends of Richard G. Wishney Park. The Friends of Richard G. Wishney Park is a 501c3 not-for-profit corporation whose mission statement, we will work with the Village of Ossining on special projects. All of our proceeds from our fundraisers, donations, and membership dues are donated to the village in the form of funding so that these projects can be completed. All volunteer board and members not only donate their expertise, their time, and donations, but they also donate their sweat equity during parks cleanup days. At the end, to this end, the board, consisting of the one and only Richard Wishney, Steve Ho, Rika Levin, Omar Herrera, and me, Sue Donnelly, has decided to focus on some exciting projects for the park. We had a very successful fundraiser in the form of a garden soiree this past fall, so the Friends could contribute funds and the village could complete the first of these projects. Thank you to the Village of Ossining for not only repaving around the reservoir, repaving the path, but also for widening the path, making it more accessible for our walkers and runners, as well as encouraging others, such as those with disabilities, to enjoy this beautiful park. An added benefit resulting from the repaving is that the path can also handle emergency vehicles when needed. There is a need for a guardrail on the reservoir side in certain areas to prevent accidents, and with the assistance of Paul Frioli, Debbie McDonald, and Dave from Dave's Fences, we have a very affordable solution that is environmentally sensitive, a post and rail fence. Dave's Fences is contributing $3,600 of labor for the project, and the village portion would be $3,500, and the Friends of Richard Wishney Park, as you'll see in that resolution, will be donating $6,000. In the past, it has been the desire of the municipalities to have not-for-profits contribute 50% of the cost of private-public partnerships, but this in case we are proud of all the folks that donated, came to the garden soiree, and joined us as a member, allowing us to pay for the bulk of this project. Our next projects are a historical sign about the water supply and the importance of the reservoir in the building of this great community, and the development of ways for more people to get to the water's edge to easily feed the fishes and turtles. For more information or to donate and to join as a member, as well as information on future fundraisers and park cleanups, please join our Facebook page at Friends of Richard G. Wishney Park, or email us at friends.of.rgw.park@gmail.com. So that's FRIENDS.OF.RGW.PARK@gmail.com. 2018 is going to be a fantastic year. Our goal is to take this winning formula of winning not-for-profit formula and include it in all Ossining parks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
If board members could comment now, otherwise we would comment when the resolution comes up for a vote. If people want to hold their thoughts, I'm sure folks will want to comment on this particular resolution when we get to it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has a comment on any of the board resolutions?
Lots of familiar faces tonight.
Good evening, Manuel Casada, 242 Spring Street. Regarding Resolution D, which is the proposed law number 1 for 2018. Not too long ago, I was part of the board. I was opposed to this particular application that came in front of us at that time, and there was many reasons for me to be opposed. Obviously, it's the decision of the board who's going to be making this tonight at some point. One of the things that when someone is elected, we are bound to make the best for our community. And how do we help our community to grow with what we have? One of the things that a lot of people have complained in the past is, why are my taxes going up? Why are we doing this? You know, there's a difference between the school taxes and village property taxes and all of this stuff. But one of the things that I always keep in mind that when I saw this application, one of the things that I had questioned is, this is a nonprofit organization. I have nothing against nonprofit organizations. I think they're great. We just saw a big example of someone doing something and donating pretty much the whole part to money back to the village. On this particular case, we are going to be losing the revenue and the taxations for village as well as schools. And what's going to happen with that is pretty much that is going to become part of the rest of the community who's going to be paying or subsidizing pretty much those taxes that we're going to be losing for this property. So again, part of the mission that the board is pretty much to try to maintain and try to keep the taxes low as much as we can. That's something that we always do, something that the board always goes on a bill, you know, when we go to the board, when we go to budget meetings and said, how do we make the best of what we have? By the board allowing something like this in a T-zone, it opens the door to a bigger entities or bigger, a different opportunity to other entities to do something like that. And that will become, to me, it opens up a Pandora box, so to speak. So it's up to the board who makes the decision tonight, however you guys want to go. But just keep in mind that whoever sits in those chairs represents the village of Austin. It represents what is best for this community. And what we try to do is obviously, you know, do what we have in our hands. So I'll leave it up to you. My opposition was always from the beginning. Everybody there knows that. So now I'm in this side, so I can do a lot more. I can say a lot more stuff that I could have said there. So just think about it. You know, you make your decision then. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quesada. I didn't know that you were holding back for the last 6 years, but.
Is there anyone else? Not seeing anyone? We will go to the resolutions. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the minutes of the January 3rd, 2018 reorganizational meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated January 17th, 2018 in the amount of $418,194.17. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Yes.
Just want to comment briefly on some of the expenditures from this particular voucher detail report. Part of the expenditure is a reimbursement to IFCA for a grant that they got that we administered for them that was for 4951 State Street and 19 Hamilton Avenue. That was about $42,000. And about $47,000 of the capital money that was spent in this particular voucher was for the Indian Brook Water Treatment Plant and the work of Hazen and Sawyer to continue the process of designing the plant. So just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Other things noted are the increase in some of our energy bills. Given the cold weather, that's going to happen. So obviously, I'll be interested to look at the. It'll have somewhat of an impact as we head into the year-end financial statement. See how our year ends up. I know we had expectations of maybe a little bit more money, so we'll see how that works out.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Codman, for pointing out to us some of those big policy initiatives working with IFCA to support affordable housing, quality affordable housing in our community, as well as our big infrastructure projects and the inevitabilities of our cold weather.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at the Birds Hall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Austin, New York, on February 7th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, to consider proposed local law number 2, 2018, titled A Local Law Amending Chapter 241, Article 4, Taxation Cold War Veterans Exemption of the Village of Austin Code. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin has been considering the adoption of proposed local law titled A Local Law Amending Chapter 270 Zoning of the Village of Austin Code, and whereas in accordance with New York State law, and the Village of Austin Code, and having provided all requisite notice, the Board of Trustees refer the proposed text amendment to the Planning Board for that board's recommendations. And whereas the Planning Board considered the proposed text amendment and issued its recommendation to the Board of Trustees, and whereas the Board of Trustees conducted a public hearing on the proposed text amendment to Chapter 270 on November 15th, December 6th, and December 20th, 2017, at which time the public hearing was closed, and whereas the proposed local law has been considered by the Board of Trustees, and it has been determined that there are no impediments to the proceeding with the adoption of the local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby adopts proposed local law number 1, 2018, and directs that said local law be filed and or distributed in accordance with applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I'm sure that people would like to comment on this before we do our voting, which I presume will be a roll call vote because it's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
local law. Comments and questions about this local law? We have discussed it at length over the last year. Obviously, Trustee Herrera is joining us very late in this conversation, though you've certainly been privy to the public discussion of it. We heard from a former trustee on his concerns about moving forward with this. Anybody want to comment or ask questions about this now?
Sure.
Please.
To Corporation Counsel, the text change that we're putting into place here has to do with a residential element of the law, correct? That's the addition to the text?
For residential school facilities.
A residential school facility, but our school is a school already a permitted use or
Yes.
conditional use within
Yes.
the area? So really the change here within the zone is that now we're looking at a residential component, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. So I guess I wanted to just clarify that nuance that schools are already permitted in this particular zone, that what we're allowing is that there to be a residential conditional use. It would have to go through a pretty exhaustive process to have it permitted, correct?
Right, residential facility for the schools, that's correct.
Right. So, and I guess the other thing I would say is, and I commented on this at the work session, is that we are going to be moving forward with a comprehensive plan, and all of the zones within the village will be under examination related to obviously their current use and what we feel would be a proper and best use in the future. I'm just noting former trustee Casada's comment with regards to the nonprofit element of this and the potential loss of tax revenue. I think at the end of the day, land ownership is a very important part of our Constitution and our government. And individuals can choose to buy and sell properties, and irregardless of their tax status, we really I don't believe that we could use that as a decision to not make this kind of a change, especially since the school use is already permitted already within the T zone. So I respectfully disagree with Mr. Casada. I am in favor of this, and I will vote for it this evening. But I do believe that everybody needs to know that a larger, more comprehensive review of land use in the village is coming, and we could decide to do something completely different with this zone. So, I believe we're doing the right thing. The planning board has vetted this. It is a conditional use, which means it has to go through, a fairly high bar to be able to be permitted. So I'll leave my comments at that. Thank you.
You want to comment?
Not too much. We talked about this quite a bit, and what's going to be weighing on me is that we are going through the comprehensive plan, and since we are going to be doing that very shortly, in my mind it seems like something like this would be like, it's kind of it's here right now, but we may be changing things sooner rather than later. So I would rather, with that in mind, make my decision.
Anyone on this side of the table have questions or comments? Then I'll just sort of reiterate some of the things I've said before, but also something that thought about tonight in response to the public comments on this. So thank you, Trustee Codman, for getting some clarification for Corporation Counsel about the current potential uses in the T-zone. And the T-zone could more broadly be described as two-family zone. There's some variety of uses, but it's largely two-family homes that are in these zones. And there's 4 T-zones in the village, and this is in one of them I should say, the applicant who made the proposal for this change is located on North Highland, which is part of one of the T-zones. Other T-zones are over by Maurice Avenue and Eastern, and then further south off of Spring Street area. So it's dense residential basically. What could be in these locations tends to be residential. Anytime we have residential units of whatever sort, they may have children involved. We can't prevent people from having children, and if they do, then they may come into our school district. And we have a wonderful school district. We educate thousands of wonderful children, but it is one of the pressures that we are always taking into consideration when we make our zoning decision making is what are the impacts of any given decision that we make. In this case, there would be children living in these units because it's residential units, but they're also being educated on site. So actually it would not have an increase in students in our public school district, regardless of whether it's a for-profit or not-for-profit. The one step further that I'd like to clarify is it's a conditional use to have education in the T-zone. There's also a conditional use for other kinds of residential units, for senior units, which would have a similar kind of demand on resources that a residential on-site educational school would have. So which is why I'm more comfortable with this as a text amendment, which should be a fairly minor modification to the existing zoning code, because it's something of a redefining of similar existing circumstances in those zones. That's why it seems like an appropriate consideration for a text amendment. Before we go to the clerk for roll call vote, are there any final comments or questions? Madam Clerk.
A roll call vote. Trustee Herrera.
Aye.
Trustee Levin.
Abstain.
Trustee Codman.
Aye.
Trustee Bazemore.
Nay.
And Mayor Garrity.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Resolved, the village manager of the Village of Ossining is authorized to accept from the Friends of Richard G. Wishney Park, Inc. a financial gift in the amount of $6,000, which gift will be used by the village for the installation of a railing at the park. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board, would folks like to comment? Please.
Sure.
Gentlemen, go first.
Anytime.
He likes to.
Well, I always go
Deputy
first,
Mayor,
right?
we let you go first. Go ahead,
I don't
John.
have to go
You're on a
first.
roll.
Please.
Anyway, I think that that I know that generally sitting in this chair, anytime there's a shared cost, or shared expenditure for improvements, municipal government, and at least me as a trustee, I'm happy to embrace that. And clearly, this is an organization that has a mission, not just for its own purpose of that park, but other parks and the recreation of our village residents. So I'm so glad that this Friends of Richard G. Wishney Park exists and that they're doing the fine work that they're doing. And I'm certainly a supporter, and I'm happy to pass this resolution this evening.
We are fortunate to have 2 members of the Board of Trustees who are also on the board of the Richard G. Wishney Park. So do you folks have any comments?
I just want to say, that this is a prime example of a partnership between a nonprofit entity of all volunteers and the village, and both have played a tremendous role in making it happen. So I'm just very happy that we got to this milestone, and I look forward to our future projects and using this park as a model to how to really get our parks to the next level, possibly even have a discussion as to, master plan for all parks, right? So thank you.
I enjoy working on this and being on the board. And I always enjoy when Richard actually shows up so people see that there's an actual Richard Wishney alive and well. You're welcome to buy a cap with his signature on it, but I think it's great. And my mom used to use that, by the way, the park, even in the wheelchair, actually, because you could actually use it for wheelchair, so I appreciate it. But actually, Sue has said, I think, everything, when she spoke, so I appreciate that. Thanks. And thanks to the village, because I think you jumped on it very quickly amongst doing all of the budgets that month. Hear what was happening and participating. I think it's one of your first parties, actually, that you went to. So, it's great.
That's right. The soiree was
Yeah.
like a 2-week anniversary here at the village or
Right.
something. It's a wonderful park. It's one of our best utilized parks for folks of all ages. You have the story walk for kids. You have seniors who use it all day long. People walk their dogs. People run. People do their laps. People stroll. People appreciate the turtles. It's just such an incredible, a lovely asset to our community in a relatively small footprint. There's a lot of usage per square foot in that park, and since the founding of this nonprofit organization that has drawn so much attention to it and so much thoughtfulness in the changes, it's just become that much more welcoming and that much more appreciated by the community. And so I'm delighted to have this opportunity here in front of us. Do I see something that you wanted to share with us? You have a really big poster board there, Sue. Oh. Oh, I thought I was going to see a picture of fencing or something. Oh, okay.
That's at the next meeting.
That's it.
Are we taking
All
a
right.
picture?
So if we're not gonna be here too much longer. If you could hold off to the end of the meeting, let's take a nice big picture with that, and we can spread the good news to folks. Oh, okay,
Oh.
that's even more
Right.
important.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay, great. I think we still have a motion on the floor, Madam Clerk.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I should have asked you whether I need to recuse myself because I'm on the
Oh.
board of the Richard Wishney. Sue's going like this now. So we're accepting something. I just want to do the right thing.
We don't have
I
any-
would vote yes. I just don't know if.
It passes without the votes of the board members. How I think. Am I
This is
correct with
just
their
for,
eyes on
like,
this side of the table?
Honestly, it's only for precedence in case it comes up again with us being on other
Out of an
boards and what
abundance
we
of
would do.
caution, the members of the board who are members of the Richard Wishney board, just out of an abundance of caution, because it does show a connection that should otherwise not be there.
But not a financial connection. I mean,
No, but
for the purposes of tonight, without any further exploration, maybe.
we
Yeah.
can deal with that another time. But at this point, you have 3 votes, so you have accepted your gift.
So before the next vote comes up, you never know when somebody's going to be out sick. Let's get a formal, thoughtful opinion on this because I don't want to exclude
No, I just
things
I
from being
should
able
have
to
asked
move
you.
forward.
I
And
really
yeah.
should have.
Okay, because you're not getting any compensation yourselves from this.
We don't get anything.
Just
but
wanna clarify
it's all
that.
about precedent setting. so the
Absolutely,
next
we
thing
want to
we
do
sit
the right
on-
thing. So, as an abundance of caution, as Corporation Council has recommended, it's 3 and 2 abstain.
Okay.
3 ayes and 2 abstain. Okay.
Do we have any continuing business of the board?
We do not.
Wonderful. Do we have any new business of the board?
Do not.
Now we'll move on to visitor recognition.
What?
Yes. 3 ayes, 2 abstentions. Unanimously approved by all who voted.
Okay, do we have any visitors who would like to be recognized?
Please, Annie.
I think most of you know me. I'm Annie Rodriguez, and I'm the caregiver to that community. Hi,
Thank you.
I'm Annie Rodriguez, and I'm the caregiver to the colonies that have been, an issue for the last couple of months. The reason I'm here on behalf of the CAT Council is we want to thank the mayor, the board of trustees, Mr. Kahan, the village manager, and Chief Sylvester for all your patience and understanding during these really difficult months. We are I'm sure you understand, incredibly relieved and grateful for allowing us to return to shelters, especially during this horrendous frigid weather. We know it's temporarily, and we are looking forward to working with you, and we are confident and are hopeful that there will be a humane plan put in effect, and a resolution hopefully before May that will enable the cats to have a quality and safe, life, and also that will be beneficial to the community. And that's all I wanted to say. And again, thank you. It has just been a wonderful way to start the new year. And thank you again. That's all. And it's on behalf of the Cat Council. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for coming this evening and for all of your heartfelt good work.
Is there anyone else who's come to address the board? Not seeing anyone, may I have a motion for an adjournment to executive session for litigation and real estate?
So moved.
Second.
So we'll do the pictures after we adjourn the meeting. Okay. So with that, I say thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week at 16 Croton Avenue, Village Hall. We have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We look forward to next week. This meeting is adjourned to executive session. Okay.